By the end of this video, you will know exactly which of America's 10 biggest franchises is the single best one to own, and which one is quietly bankrupting the people who buy it right now. Here is what makes this strange. The most widespread franchise in the entire country, the one with nearly 20,000 locations, more than any other brand in America, is one of the worst investments on this whole list. And the second biggest? You cannot buy it at all. It does not matter if you have $10 million in cash. They will not sell you one. We are going to rank all 10 by the only numbers that actually matter to an owner. What it costs to get in. What a single location really earns in a year, that is called average unit volume, AUV, and it is the number that separates the winners from the traps. How much the owner actually takes home. And the brutal one nobody likes to talk about, how many of their franchisees are going bankrupt. Some of these turn ordinary people into millionaires. Some of them take your life savings, your second mortgage, and 5 years of 80-hour weeks and hand you back less than you would have made as the manager. This is every major franchise in America, ranked from worst to best to own. Let us start at the bottom. Number 10. Starbucks. And we're starting here with the biggest trick on the entire list because Starbucks is the second most common store on this ranking with around 16,000 US locations, and you cannot franchise a single one of them. Starbucks does not sell franchises. It never really has. Almost every Starbucks you have ever walked into is owned directly by the corporation. The only exceptions are what they call licensed stores, the Starbucks counters inside airports, grocery stores, and hotels, and those licenses go to large institutional operators, not to you. There is no path where a normal person buys a Starbucks the way they would buy a McDonald's. So why is it dead last? Because the entire premise of this list is owning the thing, and Starbucks is the one giant brand that structurally refuses to let you. And it gets worse, because in its 2025 financial filings, Starbucks announced it was closing a wave of underperforming stores and was spending roughly $1 billion on restructuring. So not only can you not buy one, the company itself is pruning the ones it has. Verdict, the second most recognizable name on this list, and a 0 for the franchise buyer. You can own Starbucks stock. You cannot own a Starbucks. Number 9. Subway. This is the one that should shock you because Subway is the single most widespread restaurant brand in the United States. Nearly 19,500 locations, more than McDonald's, more than anyone. And it is one of the worst franchises you can buy in America today. Here's the math that buries it. The average Subway generates about $490,000 a year in revenue. Compare that to almost any other chain on this list, pulling in $1 to $4 million per location. Subway's average unit does less than half the business of its nearest competitor. And out of that thin revenue, the franchisee pays a combined royalty and advertising fee of 12.5%, one of the highest in the entire industry. McDonald's takes a 4% royalty. Subway takes more than triple. The result is the typical Subway owner nets somewhere between $20,000 and $40,000 per location. To make a real living, you need to own 5, 10, a dozen of them, managing dozens of employees across a fleet of strip malls for an income a single good franchise would give you from one store. And the brand is shrinking. Subway has closed more than 8,000 US locations since 2015. The cheap entry price, about $15,000 to start, is the bait. The trap is everything that comes after. Verdict: cheapest ticket on the list, worst economics on the list. Number 8. Burger King. On paper, Burger King looks like a safe bet. Globally recognized brand, around 6,700 United States locations, owned by Restaurant Brands International, one of the largest restaurant conglomerates on earth. So why is it this low? Because Burger King franchisees keep going bankrupt, and not the small ones. In 2025, a franchisee called Consolidated Burger Holdings, which ran 57 Burger King locations across Florida and Georgia, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy with over $36 million in debt after generating operating losses for 2 years running. And they were not alone. In 2023, a whole cluster of major Burger King operators filed for bankruptcy, including Meridian Restaurants Unlimited, Tom's King, and Premier Kings. Multiple large franchise groups collapsed in the same window. The situation got so bad that in 2024, Restaurant Brands International spent $1 billion buying out its own largest franchisee, a company called Carroll's, just to take direct control and force through store remodels the franchisees could not afford on their own. When the parent company has to spend $1 billion rescuing its biggest operator and multiple others are filing Chapter 11, that tells you the unit-level economics are under serious strain. Burger King is trying to turn it around with a remodel program and a goal of pushing average store profit toward $230,000 by 2026. But right now, today, this is a franchise with a visible bankruptcy problem. Verdict: big brand, broken franchisee economics. Buy it only if you have very deep pockets and a very strong stomach. Number 7. 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven is the second largest franchise system in America by total sales, nearly $98 billion system-wide, and it has one of the strangest, most misunderstood ownership models on this entire list. Most franchises charge you a royalty, a percentage of your sales, usually 4 to 8%. 7-Eleven does not do that. 7-Eleven takes a percentage of your gross profit, and not a small one. The corporate cut is often around 50% of the store's gross profit. Read that again. After you sell the merchandise and subtract what it cost you, 7-Eleven takes roughly half of what's left before you've paid your staff, your utilities, or yourself. The trade-off is that 7-Eleven, which is owned by the Japanese giant 7 & I Holdings, often covers the building and the equipment, which lowers your upfront cost compared to a McDonald's. But the gross profit split means corporate is your permanent partner on every candy bar, every Slurpee, every gallon of gas, taking its half forever. Convenience retail already runs on thin margins. Splitting your gross profit down the middle makes a good location merely okay and a weak location a disaster. Verdict: lower entry cost, but the profit split model means you're working for your franchisor as much as for yourself. Number 7. Number 6. KFC. KFC is a fascinating split personality. Internationally, it is a juggernaut. In China, it is one of the most successful restaurant brands in the entire country, but we are ranking the US opportunity, and domestically, KFC is struggling. The numbers tell the story. A KFC franchise costs between $1.85 million and $3.77 million to open. For that, the average US location brings in about $1,350,000 a year. That is a high cost of entry for a relatively modest unit volume, and the ratio is the problem. KFC closed over 300 US locations in a recent year as the domestic brand lost ground to Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, and the chicken sandwich wars it largely sat out. You are paying a premium price for a brand whose American momentum has stalled, even as its global parent, Yum Brands, thrives on overseas growth you do not get to participate in as a single-territory US operator. Verdict: strong global brand, soft domestic economics, high cost to enter, middle of the pack, trending the wrong way at home. Number 5. Wendy's. Now we cross from the franchises you should be cautious about into the ones genuinely worth owning. Wendy's is the first solidly good investment on this list. Wendy's runs around 6,000 US locations and posts respectable average unit volumes in the neighborhood of $2 million per restaurant. The brand has a loyal customer base, a reputation for quality that punches above the typical fast food tier, and a marketing identity sharp enough that it stays culturally relevant in a way most of its competitors do not. The reason it's number 5 and not higher is simple. Its unit volumes and margins are good, but they do not reach the heights of the top names. Wendy's is a reliable, well-run franchise that will make a competent owner a comfortable living. It's just not the category-defining money machine that the top of this list represents. Verdict: a genuinely solid, lower-drama franchise, reliable returns, strong brand, no glaring red flags. Number 5. Number 4. Dunkin'. Dunkin' is one of the most quietly profitable franchises in America, and the reason comes down to a single word: beverages. Coffee and breakfast drinks carry dramatically higher profit margins than food. A cup of coffee costs pennies to make and sells for several dollars. That's why Dunkin', with average unit volumes around $1.1 to $1.3 million, delivers franchisee margins in the 10 to 15% range, an owner income that frequently lands between $110,000 and $180,000 per location. Stack a few of those, and the beverage economics compound beautifully. Dunkin' is especially dominant on the East Coast, where it's less a coffee shop than a regional institution. The main pressure on the brand is competition, with Starbucks above it and 1,000 independent and regional coffee shops below it, but the underlying unit economics are among the healthiest on this list. Verdict: high-margin product, strong owner income, proven model. One of the smartest buys in American franchising. Number 4. Number 3. Domino's. Domino's is where this list starts to separate the good from the elite, and it did it by quietly becoming a technology company that happens to sell pizza. Here's the structural advantage. Domino's is built for delivery and carry-out, not dine-in. That means a Domino's location doesn't need a big, expensive dining room, a large staff of servers, or a prime, high-rent retail spot. It needs a small kitchen and a parking lot. Lower build-out cost, lower overhead, lower labor. On average, unit volumes of around $1.3 million. The model is lean by design. Layer on the technology. Domino's invested years and hundreds of millions of dollars into its own ordering app, its loyalty program, and its delivery logistics, and it consistently runs one of the most efficient digital ordering systems in all of fast food. That efficiency flows straight to the franchisee's bottom line. Domino's franchisees are, as a group, among the more profitable and satisfied operators in the industry, and a remarkable number of the company's own executives started as delivery drivers and franchisees, which tells you the path actually works. Verdict: lean model, low overhead, best-in-class technology, strong owner returns, an elite franchise. Number 3. Number 2. Taco Bell. Taco Bell is the best margin story in American fast food, and it's almost entirely because of one unglamorous fact. The ingredients are dirt cheap. Beans, rice, ground beef, tortillas, cheese. These are some of the lowest cost inputs in the entire restaurant industry, and Taco Bell has engineered an entire menu around them. The result is a restaurant-level profit margin north of 24%, among the very highest of any major chain. Average unit volumes are $1.6 to $1.8 million. Franchisee income commonly lands between $100,000 and $180,000 per location, and the brand, owned by Yum Brands, has decades of proven systems behind it. The catch with Taco Bell isn't the economics, it's access. Taco Bell is so well established and so desirable that open territories are extremely hard to come by. The franchise requires an owner-operator commitment, and the best markets were claimed long ago. If you can get in, the numbers are spectacular. Getting in is the hard part. Verdict: elite margins, cheap inputs, proven system. The only thing keeping it out of the top spot is that the best franchise on this list is in a category of its own. Number 1. McDonald's. Of course it's McDonald's, but the reason it's number 1 is not the one most people assume. It's not the brand, it's not the Big Mac, it's the real estate. Let's start with the raw numbers, because they're staggering. The average McDonald's location in the United States generates around $3.7 million a year, roughly double Taco Bell and roughly 7 times Subway. There are over 13,000 of them in the United States, and McDonald's generates more total system revenue than any other restaurant brand on the planet. The total cost to open one runs between $1 million and $2.3 million, and the royalty is a relatively reasonable 4%. But here's the secret that actually makes McDonald's the best franchise in the world to own. McDonald's, the corporation, is not really in the hamburger business. It's in the real estate business. In most cases, McDonald's owns or controls the land and the building your restaurant sits on, and you, the franchisee, pay them rent on top of the royalty. This is how the parent company makes the bulk of its money, and it's also why McDonald's is so ruthlessly selective about location. They are real estate experts placing assets on the best corners in America, which means the franchisee inherits a location that has been chosen to win. The combination, the highest unit volumes in the industry, the most recognizable brand on earth, decades of refined operational systems, and a parent company whose real estate discipline puts you in the best possible spot is why a McDonald's franchisee can clear well over $200,000 per location, and why owners with multiple stores become genuinely wealthy. McDonald's franchisees are some of the most successful small business owners in America. The barrier is the barrier. McDonald's wants substantial liquid capital, often demands you buy multiple locations or an existing high-performing store, and the approval process is long and demanding. But if you can clear it, you are buying the single most proven money-making machine in the history of franchising. Verdict: highest volumes, best locations, the real estate model working in your favor, and a path to real wealth. The best franchise to own in America. Number 1. So here's what the whole list actually teaches you, and it's the thing nobody tells you when they're selling you a franchise dream. Size is not the same as quality. The 2 biggest names in American franchising are at the very bottom of this ranking. Subway, the most widespread with some of the worst economics, and Starbucks, the second most common, which you cannot even buy. Meanwhile, the franchises that actually mint wealthy owners, McDonald's, Taco Bell, and Domino's, win on the boring numbers. Revenue per location. Margin on the product, the cost structure underneath the brand. A franchise is not a logo, it's a math problem. The famous name on the sign tells you almost nothing about whether you'll make money. What tells you is the average unit volume, the royalty rate, the real cost to operate, and whether the existing owners are buying their 3rd location or filing for Chapter 11. The best franchise in America isn't the one you see the most. It's the one doing the most business behind the one location you're allowed to buy.